What's up, guys? So, finally done with the Ripaverse stuff for now. Um, Now we're going to move on to Inglorious Rex. One of the very first ones that I got after initially getting started with ISM 1. It got me into comics, so I wanted to expand and see what other genres, I guess, I would also like outside of just superheroes. And Inglorious Rex was one of the first ones that I got that really interested me. Um, it's more of a fighting style. I thought that was pretty interesting. That it's more about fighting and not so much just crime fighting. Um, and I mean, it's just monsters beating up one another. What's not to like? So let me just get right into it. So our story opens up. Um, we have a boxing match going on. It's quite one sided. And our protagonist, Alex, is on the losing end on this one. He's getting pummeled. While this is taking place, we are cutting into an intermission, and we see um, an assistant for one of the audience members, who we find out is T. Uh, she is not so sure that Alex is the guy that T needs, and um, T says, just hold on. It's just the intermission. Let's see what happens. Come back from intermission. Alex has a second wind, and he just pummels, just lays into his opponent. He wins pretty easily there, and that intrigues T all the more. He is like, "Yep, I was right. This is my guy." Um, so after the match, we see Alex having a nightmare, and it's reliving his brother's death. Which, hey, I can imagine that would upset most people, especially if you witnessed a family member or loved one die. I can imagine that would weigh on your conscience quite a bit, whether it's your fault or not. Um, I can see how that would really bother some people. Um, we His girlfriend then enters the room, and we get to meet her. Her name's Anna, and um, we find that she is a Rex fighter. And Rexes are the big monsters that this story is centered around. Um, and she is what's called a pilot for this, meaning she is physically on the beast while they fight. Um, and we'll see a demonstration of that here soon enough. Um, so Anna comforts her boyfriend. Um, make of that what you will. Two consenting adults and whatnot. We then fast forward to Arc City Central Rex Arena. Say that 5 times fast. Have fun. We listen to the arena announcers talk about the upcoming fight between Anna and her Rex Razor. Now Anna, she does the nice little fun press talk right before her match. Which case, Alex, he doesn't really want to talk with any of them, so yeah, he's like, "Hey, I'll meet you in the lace suit room." Anna says, "Okay, fine." But before Alex could get there, he is summoned by T to T's office. Uh, Alex accepts the offer, and when he goes into T's office, he greets T pretty with a lot of hostility. Um, T doesn't really mind. It doesn't bother him. He says, "Hey, I can respect a man who just wants to get down to business." So T informs Alex that his brother's Rex 232, is going to be decommissioned unless Alex was willing to pilot him against um, for one last match against the Rex that actually ended up killing his brother, which is Rune, and the pilot for Rune is a man named Gunn. And that's where we leave that for now. We then go back to the lace suit room where Anna is getting in sync with her Rex Razor, and we get to see like the pilot's eyes start to glow as they start to get in sync with one another, and they start to move together, breathe in rhythm with one another. Pretty cool process. Everything in their minds are all aligning, and then we get to see what a Rex fight is and how it goes. It's a pretty entertaining fight. Anna goes out and she whoops ass, wins. So after the match, after Anna wins, we see Alex and Anna both walking outside of the stadium, and they are approached by a large man, and this is Gunn, the pilot of Rune, who was basically there to kind of just taunt Alex. He's being kind of a prick about everything. And this is where we learn Alex, in fact, accepted T's offer. Big shock, right? And that's more or less what Gunn was saying. He's like, I don't want to be responsible for killing both of you guys, and that he should just quit while he's ahead. And Anna was not aware of any of this, and it really kind of pissed her off a bit. She told Alex, that's suicide. You can't make you can't pilot a Rex that wasn't a clone of you, and that's how we learn Rexes are clones of their pilots. And she's like, just because you guys are related doesn't mean that that's necessarily good enough, because there's a kind of like a reaction time between his input as to what he wants the Rex to do and what the Rex responds to. And that's why they're clones, is to minimize that gap. And Alex doesn't take Anna's concern as anything other than she just doesn't have any faith in him. And it pisses him off, and he storms away. And then, as Alex is taking a walk, we overhear a nearby radio talking about the upcoming match. T's announced it for the public, and how exciting that could be. To see a rematch between 232 and Rune. And so Alex makes his way to where 232 is, and we find out that Rex has been nothing more than a sparring partner, and has been cared for by Alex's dad. And Alex explains the whole ordeal to his dad. His dad didn't take well to it either, understandably. He already lost one son to this Rex and pilot. He does not want to lose another. Understandable, perfectly reasonable. As a father, I would probably be in his position as well. And they have a back and forth, and ultimately his dad says, "Fine, I see you're gonna do it whether you have my blessing or not. I might as well do what I can to help you get through this." So he begrudgingly helps, and we also, at this moment, I just wanted to kind of think about or talk about this real quick. We see that the Rexes eat whole cows at one time. I could not help but think of the scene from Jurassic Park where they're lowering the cow down into the raptor pit. I was getting the same kind of vibes watching Rex 232 lower a cow down into his mouth. So, all right, a little off topic, but I couldn't help but make that connection there. Um, okay, so we get a look at Gunn talking with T about making an example of Alex in 232 because there's been a lot of blowback. So he's the reigning champ, and the championship match is the one that ended up killing Nate, Alex's brother. And since then, Gunn has been considered kind of a like a fake king, wearing like a fake crown kind of deal, um, and just not really the champ. And so that's kind of how this whole match got set up. We find out is this is going to be the definitive. Gunn is the champ. Nobody else is better than him. He is beaten 232. You know, both Nate and Alex are both beaten. I don't think he necessarily wants to kill Alex. I think it's all about just winning definitively over 232. And so we cut back over to Alex and 232 and his dad, and it is montage time. We get to see hitting the bags, getting all trying to sync up, because again, 232 and Alex are not compatible. They're not. They don't share the same DNA, so it is all about trying to get their timing down. And we do have like a little comic montage. I totally enjoyed that part. So fast forward to fight night, and we're getting some like ideas of what's going on in the fighting world, and what's upcoming between these two. We're being filled in as to what happened last time these two Rexes met. And then we also get to see an interview with Anna, and we find out she's actually going to be taking on the winner of this match. It looked like she was already going to just go up against Rune, but then, they wanted to have a little quick spectacle, so they kind of slid Alex and 232 in before her. And then, while this is also taking place, we're watching as Alex and 232 start to get in sync with one another. The fighters enter the ring, and T gives the audience an introduction to the night's entertainment, introducing both fighters and whatnot. And then we see Rune and 232 square up against one another, and to me it looked like Rune just kind of towers over 232. Because we also found that in between that last match between those two, so the Rexes evolve after each fight, and so Rune's gone on to fight other matches, whereas 232 hasn't. So one has evolved, one hasn't, and it just, you see a stark contrast between the two fighters. Okay, so 232 starts with the first attack, but he's too slow. He's being countered, and he just starts delivering an ass whooping to 232 and Alex. And after one of the hits, Alex and 232 have a disconnect. They're no longer working together, and they kind of freeze up. Rune hits 232 again. They both eat some floor, and Alex's dad is just like, stay down, don't get back up. And Alex refuses. He gets back in sync with 232 and gets back up. So we speed through some of these rounds here. We track them. We're now in round 4, and Alex and 232 are getting more and more in sync with one another, and they're moving faster, and are being more offensive than defensive at this point as well. You know, they're starting to get more balanced, more comfortable with one another. Um, his dad still, from the get go, his dad was just, he told Alex, he's like, I'm not trying to help you win. I'm just trying to get you through this thing. I want my son to live through this fight. Again, understandable. Alex starts to get into his mind, I want to win. And he refuses to quit. And then we move into the fifth round, or what's called the ultra round. So what we find is in the fifth round, there's kinetic energy being built up throughout all of these rounds. And they get to release this kinetic energy in one punch. So the fifth round is a single punch by both fighters. So they both throw their punches, and Gunn is knocked out of the cockpit of Rune. And Rune gets to get a taste of that floor too. 232 is acting a little erratic and wants to crush Gunn. For which case, Alex leaves his cockpit to keep 232 from causing any harm. Instead, Alex challenges Gunn to a one-on-one fist fight, and Gunn accepts. Now Gunn gets in the first hit, but Alex beats him like a little clown boy, and Gunn begs Alex to stop. And, you know, game over. Alex wins. You know, he whooped that ass good. So 232 is not happy with the results here. And he wants Alex to kill Gunn. Alex is like, nah, this is good. He got his ass whooping. I'm good here. So 232 storms off towards Rune and beats the absolute piss out of that Rex until he claims the head of Rune and like holds it up like a trophy. And that's it. That's the end of the match. Until we are reminded, Alex's next opponent is his girlfriend, and that's where the comic ends. So we do have one little quick subplot in here. I'm just going to call it a subplot. I don't really know if it qualifies because there was nothing really mentioned of it. However, it is an unresolved story arc here. There's a creature right at the very, very end of this comic. Not entirely certain what its purpose is, what it plans to do. I don't know if it's a Rex or if it's some other kind of beast. So that is the last thing we have there. So our main characters, there's not a terrible amount of them. We have Alex Stone. Again, main protagonist. He's a kickboxer who eventually starts to pilot Rex 232. Rex 232 was initially cloned from Nate Stone, Alex's brother. And after Nate's passing, he became just a sparring partner for other Rexes to train with, and just again cared for by Nate and Alex's dad. We have T, who is the Rex Fight Commissioner. That's really about the only thing we know. He may be kind of shady. I mean, the story certainly leads you to believe that he's kind of a shady guy, especially when you see that he wanted to set up that fight between Gunn and Alex. But that's really all we see. Just some of the mannerisms and the way that they talk about things, but we don't directly see him acting shady. So, for all I know, he's still on the up and up. but it definitely looks like he might be doing some under the table shit. We have Anna, or Anatomic, as she is known in the ring. Um, Rex Fighter, Alex's girlfriend. Um, she also, she pilots the Rex Razor, um, who those two are very effective. So it'll be certainly interesting to see how um, her and Alex get along in the next one. Certainly interested in that one. And then Gunn, really just he was the reigning champ in a controversial match against Nate, where Nate died, and people felt that he would have otherwise won, and they felt that the fans felt that that's why Gunn killed Nate. That's why it was very controversial. So those are basically our main players. Um, so some of the things that I liked were there's a lot of action in here. I thought the characters were very interesting. Um, I really liked the drama being set up for the next comic between Anna and Alex. What does that mean? Like are they still going to be good with one another, or you know being that they're both fighters, are they going to be kind of separate and be more antagonistic towards one another, or it's like I go to work, come home, we're still good, kind of deal. Interesting to see how they handle that as a couple. Uh, about the only thing I would say is this one was a bit on the predictable side. Like you kind of got a sense like Alex was going to pull it through and ultimately win. Because Gunn just it came off a little on the generic side as far as villains are concerned. So you didn't really get the sense that, like he was going to win. You didn't like Gunn from the get go. Not saying that that's a bad thing. Uh, he was a dick to be a dick, and to me that just kind of came off like, okay, Alex is likely going to win this fight. Um, it just would have been nice to see maybe not such a bland villain. Gunn was just like I don't know the backstory. Maybe that could be fleshed out later with like maybe like a comic that's touching on the fight between Gunn and Nate, and see maybe Gunn wasn't planning any of this. Kind of flesh him out a little bit more, but otherwise, I didn't really care about Gunn whatsoever, and I just again felt that he was going to lose and Alex was going to win and be um, up against his girlfriend, which again is a pretty interesting uh, fight for the next one. Um, so again, that's everything there. I really liked it. Uh, I got some like Avatar vibes out of it, especially with the whole clone. Um, it was kind of like in that movie where the avatars that were created um, for what was it, Jake Sully, I want to say his name was. Um, Forgive me, I've only seen the movie like once or twice. That they were clones of the individual that was going to be taking over the mind. And I believe in that movie, the brother had died, and it was up for um, the one, the individual who wasn't a clone of that creature to step in and was able to make a connection against better odds. So I got a lot of Avatar vibes out of that. I mentioned the whole feeding process from Jurassic Park. And also, in a weird way, I also got some like Pacific Rim vibes. Just the whole piloting a big beast of sorts. I know in Pacific Rim it's a robot, but just that whole piloting thing and the movement, connecting with one another. Um, it just gave me some vibes, and I'm not saying any of this is bad. It just wasn't in my thought while I'm reading this. Um, I'm definitely looking forward to the second one. I was a little late on that one, so I gotta wait a little bit longer, unfortunately. But certainly looking forward to reading some more. So this one certainly gets a thumbs up for me. Um, I've read it a couple times now, and look forward to the future. So that's all I got for today, guys. I thank you again for sticking around and watching. And until next time, take care. Thank you and God bless.